Hello everybody, I'm gonna start a new tutorial series learning you guys C++. Why C++ and not any other programming language? Because C++ is industry standard when it comes to making games. And I eventually want to make tutorials to teach you how to make games, like 2D games, maybe even 3D games if we get that far, but that's still a long way ahead. And this tutorial series is aimed for people that don't know anything about programming yet, but really want to get into making games, since that's what I'm here to teach you. First of all, we're going to need something that we can write C++ in, and so we need some sort of editor. The editor of my choosing, that's Visual Studio. Why Visual Studio? What is Visual Studio? Visual Studio is a Microsoft app that is a combination of an editor, a compiler, a linker, and a debugger. And basically a compiler that transforms your code into an exe so you can run it. It basically transforms what you've written into something that a computer can read. Then you have a linker. What a linker does is if you have external libraries, so you're trying to make some sort of 2D game and you need code that somebody else has written for you since you don't want to make all the rendering code yourself, then it somehow needs to link that code to your code, since it's something that's not in this, it's not a project itself. So then you have a linker that links everything together so it can build it correctly. And you have a debugger, which is really important, since you're gonna do a lot of debugging. That's one of the biggest things that you're gonna do. But that basically makes it so you can step through the code, you can watch how things are happening while they're happening, and it's just a really handy tool to have. Okay, now the installation of Visual Studio. We're just gonna go to Google and we're gonna search for Visual Studio. Visual Studio. We're gonna go to the Visual Studio website, and then we're gonna download the free version of Visual Studio, which is the Community Edition. So we're just gonna press Download Community 2015. If you're watching this later and there's a different version of the Community Edition, feel free to download that one. Just get the latest one, and the coding is gonna be the same. Maybe the UI is a little bit different, but I'll probably still be around to help you out if you need me. If you ever have any questions, let's get it off of my face. If you ever have any questions about C++ or Visual Studio or anything, I can help you. If you ever want to get a bit further, ahead of the tutorial, I can give you I can advise you to do certain things. I'm here to help you. Okay, but now we're going to continue with installation. So I've opened the installer and now it's just initializing the setup. Visual Studio is a huge program. You can make so many different things with it. That's why the setup is gonna take a while. It's gonna take a while, especially if you select more things that are normally not there. Okay, since I've already installed Visual Studio, I can probably press modify. Yeah, that will show you what you would normally see. This is what you would normally see if you have not installed Visual Studio yet. All these different things, there are probably a few things that I've added myself in this list, but it basically is good as it is. You just have to press update or install in your case, and that will do it. Then the installation will continue. You're gonna have to wait for a while, and everything will be fine. After that, I want to close the setup. After that, we're gonna open Visual Studio. You can instantly do that after the installation is complete, and we're gonna write some sort of simple program to test if it's working. Okay, we're gonna create a new project, since otherwise we can't do anything. New project is either on the start page or it's under file. I'm gonna do it that way so you can note for later. You can also press on file, new project. That will do the same. Then it's really important that we select Visual C++, and a Win32 console application. Otherwise we're not gonna have the console and things are gonna be bad. Things are not gonna work the way it's supposed to work. Then we're gonna give it a name. The name that I'm gonna give it is tutorial 0. Okay. Now we press OK. Next. And just finish. You don't have to worry about any of this right now. Just press finish. It will make stuff for you and that stuff will work. Okay. If it wants to work. Okay. So here we are. We are in our first project. So what are we gonna do now? Like if we just press local Windows debugger, so if you're gonna run the program right now, nothing's gonna happen. It's gonna open a window and it's gonna close a window. Nothing much after that. Like it opened a window. Oh, now it's loading some DLLs. It might do that for you too. But as you can see, it's closed. It's closed already. So first thing that we need to do is hashtag include. That will include a file. Also, it will include something like a header or a precompiled header or something that is already in your system, probably already a system right now. We're going to do include and then smaller than, and we'll automatically do bigger than, and then we're going to type iostream. Don't worry about what this means right now, just include it so we can make a test program that works. Then we're going to type std, which is a namespace. I'm going to talk all about namespaces in a later episode. cout, which stands for console out. So we're going to write something to the console. Then we'll do a smaller than. That means that we want to push something into the cout, so we want to push something into the console. Then we're going to use the double quotation marks, and in that we're going to type something like hello world, since that's always a programmer's first thing to write, hello world. Then we want to push something else into the console, and that is an std end line, endl, that stands for end line. Also like an enter. Basically I'm now doing an end line. That's the same as typing std endl or doing the /n, like the \n, or the /. I think it's a \n. Okay, and don't forget always end the line of code with a semicolon, otherwise it's not gonna work, like it's gonna give you errors. And now if you press either F5 or local Windows debugger, F5 is the shortcut for running the debugger, then it will run a program. But as you can see, it didn't even give me time to drag the window from my face over to my main screen. It just ran and stopped. That's because normally code just runs and eventually gets to an end and then it just stops. It doesn't keep the pop-ups. It doesn't keep the window open. But we right now want to keep the window open. There are two different ways that we can do that. We can either press Ctrl F5, which right now the only thing that we need to know is that it will wait at the end of the file, at the end of the program. It would stop and wait for key press. So that's what I've just done. Now it says press any key to continue. Or we can add another line of code called system, then opening with curvy brackets, and then once again the double quotation marks, and then we type in pause, and once again we end with a semicolon. Okay, now if you press F5, you will see that it will do the same as it did, only in a different font. Okay, that's annoying, it's a little bit tiny, but if you can see it, it says hello world, and then press any key to continue ... Basically what this does is it's the same, but it will not skip some of the debug things that it would otherwise skip. But if this all worked fine, then it was the first tutorial. Be ready for the next one, it's gonna be uploaded soon. and in that we're gonna talk about probably just functions, how they work, and the different types of variables that you have. Maybe first, yeah, just first the variables, and then we're gonna talk about functions in another one. Basically, we're gonna get you up to speed really quickly. Goodbye.